Hi there, and a very warm welcome to this week's video. So last week we started out from our summer break with a very niche topic, and therefore the algorithm decided to not give us a lot of views. So this week I'm doing something that historically always gave us a lot of views, and this is showing some new features. So fortunately, Otoy was very busy during this time and did get a new version out from the Octane 2026 Alpha 3. Which is also available inside of Cinema 4D. So this week we are going to jump into Cinema 4D and have a look at trace sets. Now I would like to show you Blender as well, but there's no build for the Octane 2026 for now. So at the very least we're going to get an overview over both packages Cinema 4D and Blender when the stable arrives. So for now, let's grab our coffee and have a look at trace sets. And welcome to Cinema 4D Land and our scene for today. As Christmas is getting closer, I went up to my digital attic and poked at some boxes and found some old Christmasware as well as some old mirrors. And this is exactly the right stuff to show off trace sets. This should be a very easy to grasp topic, so it has the potential to be also very short. So let's see what we do with the time that is given to us. And I hear you say, it's all fine and good, Raphael, but what are trace sets actually good for? What do they do? And in the most layman's terms, they are good for excluding and including objects from other objects. So something that actually has been asked for in Octane since the very beginning. Or in more technical terms, it gives you more granular control over the path traced rays to include and exclude objects based on the reflection, refraction, diffuse or shadow. I hope this got you curious because, of course, we are going to look at it next. So let's jump right in. First of all, small disclaimer, we are handling an alpha here, so Octane 2026.1 Alpha 3. Don't use this, of course, on your production scenes because it isn't stable, it can contain bugs. Well, not that stable versions never contain bugs, developers are humans too, so here we are. Now, let's get actually going. Otoy decided to make this feature available through the Octane object tag inside of Cinema 4D. So first of all, we need to decide on some object to control, which obviously is the red ball because it stands out. So let's select this, navigate to it, and then right click and go to extensions and get it a Octane object tag like this. And keen-eyed among you might have already spotted it. So among the list here, there's the trace sets. To get this going, we actually need to add a trace set, let's call it red. This is sort of a group that includes objects that are part of the trace set. The next part is very important to make this work. I know this because I got it wrong the first time I tried it. To add objects to the trace set group, we need to mark them here and tick this box.
Oh, hi Mark.
So the tag then creates a connection to the object it is assigned to and puts it into the group that is ticked. And this is actually all there is we need to do to our red wall to get this going, because the effect of it is controlled by the object that is handling those ray interactions. My mouse movement probably gave away that I want to exclude the red ball from the mirror here. So let's do this by going to the mirror, clicking it, finding it and adding another Octane object tag to it, and then go to the trace sets once more. Your first instinct might be to also mark the mirror, but this is the wrong thing to do, at least for our purpose for now, because this would just add the mirror to the trace set. What we actually want to do is exclude something from the trace set, so instead we want a rule. So with those rules, you also are able to see all the trace sets we have established. Right now we just have the red one because we added it. So if we go to exclude and tick the red one here, you can see now the red ball is excluded from the mirror reflection. But if you now go, wait a minute, we could do this before. We just had to go to the red material of our material ball, make it active, bring in a ray switch, get this to the opacity, and then go with the reflection ray 0, then you're excused because the results are actually very similar. If you have keen eyes, you already might have spotted the difference. So have a look at the reflection of the red ball in the chrome ball or in the floor. if I revert that, then go to our tag here and enable this one here. So you can see it just vanishes in the mirror, but it's still there in the reflection on the floor and on the chrome ball. And this is the big difference. It doesn't affect the reflection globally, but only the object that the Octane object tag with the rule is assigned to. What you also might have noticed is that the red ball also vanished from the reflection of the silver ball inside of the mirror realm. This is basically once the ray hit the mirror, the red ball is vanished. This is the standard expectation and therefore the default, but we are not limited to it. So if we look down here, we have more behaviors to choose from. For example, the next hit only or all future hits after the next hit. Let's choose the next hit only and we can see the red ball reappearing in the secondary rays from the reflection of the mirror. Or vice versa, we can make the red ball show up directly in the reflection but not in secondary reflections by going with the other option here. Now, you might be thinking a little bit of contact shadow might be nice, but this is just not possible because the shadow is part of the secondary rays which we turned off here. And you are forgiven again if you think that the shadow toggle here would do the trick. This is basically just allowing shadows from the ball on the mirror, which you don't see because the mirror is very mirror-like. In other words, since we are looking at everything that's happening within one reflection, it is squished down to the reflection path, so we can just toggle it globally on and off here. To explain those bounce types a little bit better, let's select an object that has them all, which is the floor here. Then go to it and again add a Octane object tag. Go to the trace sets, add a new rule, select the red rule. Now all the interactions are turned off from the object to the floor, but if we want to keep the reflection, for example, we can untick that, or if we just want to have the shadow, we can untick that, and so on. So the diffuse would be the GI from the object to the floor. I lied a bit, we don't have a refraction yet, but it would be the same thing for that as well. Welcome back to the scene. For the next feature, I had to rearrange some stuff. So we have this camera here now, and if we go into it, we can see the endless mirror effect. If we take the mirror that is in our back right now, this one here, and exclude the trace set from the red sphere again, then we can see it vanishes from everywhere but from the direct reflection of the front mirror, which we haven't excluded it from. Now, if we take the camera and turn it around to the first mirror, we can see it's excluded everywhere because all of it is a reflection of this first mirror. What I want to get at, and you probably have seen it in the settings already, is the Reinclude feature. So let's go to the other mirror and then reinclude the same object. So what's now happening is that when the rays hit the first mirror, it's excluded, and as soon as they hit the other mirror on the other side, it's reincluded and then stays included. So I think this shows off the potential that this feature has. You just have to know what you're doing. So for example, if we turn around yet again, you can see that it looks quite alright unless we turn off the exclude again, and then the second sphere pops in. And this is because right now the rays are hitting the first mirror, which we don't exclude any spheres from, then the second mirror, which we exclude the sphere from, then the third mirror, and this re-includes the sphere, and therefore there's a gap in the middle here. So it is quite powerful, but you definitely have to know what you're doing. And this already brings us to the bonus that we have usually at the end. I wanted to show that with object light sources with a light material like this one, because I couldn't get it to work on normal light sources because the object tag wouldn't work on them, we can actually use trace sets. So let's turn on the light here. In the past, light linking was more or less the only way we could use light sources on different objects differently. What we needed to do is go to the object layer here, enable the light path mask, and then disable the ID of the light source that was shining on the object. So if you look closely, something that is more apparent here is that this option with the light path mask only disables the first bounce, and you can see the secondary bounces of light still appearing. So if we want to do this with a trace set, we need to go to the light or to the object that is the light, then to trace set and create a new group here. So let's call it light. And then enable it for this exact plane here. So when we go to our Christmas ball again, it also appears in the exclude and reinclude list. So if we exclude the light here, you can see there's no secondary ray bounces either in the object or in its reflections anymore. Of course, this just goes for the light source that is the plane. To prove my point, I can re-enable the environment, and for the environment, all the reflections work as usual. But we don't need to stop here. We have all the other fancy options, so the next hit only is basically the same as the light pass mask. And then we have the future hits after the next one, which leaves us just with the direct reflection, no indirect ones. But we are still not done. There's more options. For example, what we can use is the reinclude function, for example, on the floor. And therefore, what we can do is get the reflection of this one certain light back to the object, like this. So a whole lot of options right there, and I'm sure I didn't even scratch the surface, as some more advanced users than I am probably figure out some ways to hack this. Now, as always, if you're interested in the scene files, you can go over to my Patreon and get them there. And since we did a good job in actually keeping this video short this time, short-form content creators might disagree about the length perception. Let's actually keep it short and thank those people who made it possible, my Patreons. Especially my €50 tier subscribers, Shields Augustinen and Leon Studio TV. Also, of course, a huge thank you for my €15 tier subscribers, for Die Thieves, Adam Sen, Alessio De Vecchi, Ami Schiedried, Christian Grajewski, Graham Bucknell, Grigoris Morikis, Joel Muckemer, John Edward, Chris Clemson, Lucas M. Silveira, Mikkel Obenhuis, Ness Graphics, Nico Straub, Part 1 of 2, Ralf, Random Capybara, Raiko, Shiro 2049, Zoo Shag, Terry Wayne Ranson, Jan Verbeke, and Yassin Rupp. Hey, we almost made it to the 10-minute mark. Basically, this is the initial video idea that I wanted to do, so snappy, fast, and easygoing. Hopefully you like the pacing and learned something from it. I hope this draws in some more views than the last video, though I get the algorithm has to ramp up again since I didn't post for a month or so. Speaking of, to help me fight the algorithm overlords, let's post a mirror emoticon in the comments down below. Again, I'm very thankful for you for watching this till the end. Thank you so much. And as always, have a fantastic early week, or if you're watching this later, an amazing time to you. And I say happy trace setting. Bye!